Hi, I'm Curious Cass, and this is Curiosity Junkie. Today's guest is a vegan chef who creates vegan comfort food. Please welcome Courtney Grant to the show. Hi, Courtney. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I am so excited to have you on the show. Thank you. Thank you for coming on and talking vegan cooking.
Absolutely. I love it. I'd love to.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's just jump in. I saw your video. I was like, oh my God, he's got a YouTube channel. So I went, and I like that you do recipes that are fairly easy.
Yes.
And I love that you use the word comfort because we're looking for comfort when we're eating. So fantastic.
Yeah.
Tell me how you got into what started you down the vegan path?
Okay. So what started me was it's really funny because my sister is vegan. She's been vegan for like 25 plus years.
Wow.
And I know. And she was always telling me, she's like, you have to go vegan. She's like, in our family, just the genetics, you have to go vegan. And I was just kind of like, whatever. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to like maintain the amount of like weight I have on my body and go vegan. I was like, it's just not going to happen. And I moved to California in 2011, and I was dealing with a lot of health issues. I became allergic to basically all fruits. It started off with apples. They would make my stomach hurt. I wasn't able to like eat them at all unless every fruit was cooked. I couldn't eat it. And so I was like, I guess that's just something like when you grow up, you just kind of become allergic to like food.
Random things, yes.
Yeah. And so one of my friends, when I moved out here, they were like, just do honey. They were like, if you eat honey from the place that you're living, it will stop you from being allergic to it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to teaspoon honey every single day. That's just crazy. I just will stop eating them. And bananas, I'll eat, and then I'll have like watermelon on occasion if I like it, because I wasn't allergic to those. And so I met one of my friend's trainers, and I was eating a lot. I wanted to bulk up. I was like 145, 150 when I moved out here. And I was like, I want to be about 180. And so I started eating a ton of food. I was eating 8 meals a day. And I know I was drinking like 6 glasses of milk, 2 blocks of cheese, 30 eggs, like all in a day. I know, it was really crazy. And so for me, I was just kind of like, oh, this is just kind of like what you do in order to put on muscle and put on weight. And I ended up stopping the process probably like 6 months in, and I ended up just like not feeling good at all. I mean, that obviously is an over amount of food. Like, it's such an enormous amount. So I don't think anyone really should eat that much, but I was trying to just do it because I knew I wanted to gain the weight. And so I ended up, after the process was over, I think it was probably like 2-3 years later, I still kind of didn't feel my best. I was still really sluggish, and I wasn't even eating that much. I felt like I was eating like 4 or 5 meals a day. So for me, it's not a lot because I was eating 8 before. And I was just kind of like, what is going on? And I was getting these random lumps all over my skin, like really hard. And at first I was just kind of like, they'll go away. Like, I don't know what's going on, but they'll go away. So I went to the doctor, and he didn't do anything. I went to 3 doctors, and they were just like, oh, you're fine. You're so young. At the time, I was like 23, and they were like, you're young. They'll just go away. They'll go away. There's nothing wrong with you. And I was losing my mind because they were big. And so I spoke with my sister, and she goes, listen, it's your body reacting to all of the food. She was like, just stop drinking milk and dairy products and just cut out meat. Do it for like 2 months. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And so I cut out everything, and it wasn't a lot. It was like 3 chicken breasts and like 4 eggs that I was eating. And everything else was rice and a little bit of veggies. So I just told myself, let me add some veggies, let me add some hearty potatoes, and just kind of like go from there. And within those 2 months, my body drastically changed. It was so crazy. I went from not knowing what was going on with my body to my body just kind of like healing itself. The bumps would go away. My skin was better. I wasn't as full and puffy, which I just kind of thought that was just kind of my body. I leaned out quite a bit and then still put on weight. I was 175 when it all, started. And like when I was like at what my version of like peak was. And then I went to 186 and I'm 186 now, eating just a plant-based diet and staying pretty consistent with it. So it's been quite a journey for sure.
Well, you look great, and
Thank you.
to me, it looks like you're lean, fat-wise, and then you've got muscle.
Yeah. So I work out like like every day. So but the diet itself, like I really didn't know or even think that this was even a possible thing to do. Only eating fruits in the morning and drinking water, and for the rest of the day, your veggies and, rice or lentils or anything that's like very carby and fiber, and really enjoying it and knowing that you can sustain yourself on it. And it's not expensive. I mean, if you're trying to like eat Daiya cheese and vegan ice cream.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But if you do it like actually eating the fruits and vegetables like normally, you can do it.
Yes, because meat's not cheap either. So
yeah.
I'm always, when people say it was so expensive, and I think, well, if you're buying a bunch of processed food,
yes,
no matter what, it's expensive. But
exactly.
if you're eating healthy, which is fresh fruit and veggies.
Yeah. And I try to, and I really do. I don't, because I went vegan for health reasons. And then after the health reasons, I wanted to educate myself on why you should be vegan, whether or not you're healthy or you're just like, I want to transition into being vegan just for like the environment. I wanted to educate myself on both topics, and just seeing how, the dairy industry and the meat industry all coincide and are super destructive to the planet. If you can do 2 days a week and be vegan and not have meat all the time, you help and you save the planet. And then eventually, maybe later on, you could start, consistently eating just veggies and like your carbs and all of that stuff in your plant-based diet without having to do, meat and dairy.
Right.
And dairy affects you a lot. Like, and I didn't even mention, so like the fruit that I was allergic to before, I started eating them probably 6 months to a year into being vegan, and I wasn't cooking them. I was just eating them. I just wanted to see if I could. Right. And I was able to eat them. My throat wasn't swelling up. My stomach wasn't hurting. And so I was super confused. And I had to I wrote on the Facebook groups and I was like, listen, guys, I know I'm not crazy because I was definitely allergic to these. So I just want to know what's going on. Like I stopped eating meat and I stopped eating dairy, and I want to know why I'm no longer allergic to the vegetable or the fruits that I used to eat. And a lot of the people, even people like direct messaged me because they were like, hey, I'm a doctor and so forth and so on. And they were like, a lot of the times you're allergic to, the majority of everyone is allergic to dairy. Like that's why a lot of people are lactose intolerant, and that can make you allergic to other things, which I didn't know that. And so they were like, the more you do it and the more you drink it, you can become allergic to other stuff. So I was starting to become allergic to all the fruits. I didn't want to become one of those people.
Right. Like, I enjoy fruit.
I enjoy fruit. So yeah, so I know that, you know, dairy and meat and everything, I mean, when you're not taking care of your body is going to tell you. And when you are taking care of your body, it's going to show and tell you. So yeah.
Yeah, I find when I talk to a lot of vegans that we tend to go there for health or for animal rights. That's usually how people start down the path.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like you. I did the health reasons. I was just doing a full body reboot, and I thought, let me just try vegan for a year and see if it makes a difference. And then you start feeling a little better even about the fact that you are being a little more kind to the planet, not harming any beings. Just, you know, there's a lot of love that comes with it.
It really is. It really is. And it does show you, it shows a more compassionate side. And especially when you see how it's being done and how the animals are being treated, even with wearing fur and all of that stuff. I am not able to advocate for every single thing and protest for every single thing that's happening in the world, but I, by my actions, can do that and say, listen, I'm not going to participate, and I'm not going to give my money, and I'm not going to allow my earnings and my presence on the planet to hinder other people or other creatures.
It's fascinating when you say you're vegan, people immediately, you know, you're either crazy because you're an animal activist and they are ready to shut you down, or the first question is always, well, how do you get your protein? And I'm like,
I know, which is so shocking to me. I feel like people don't know though, but everything really has protein in it. Rice, lentils, quinoa, spinach. I mean, everything. I mean, I just think you need to consume more of it. And it's inexpensive. So you are able to consume more of it and still get that. The only thing that I had trouble with was in the beginning, in the first, I think it was the first 4 months of me doing everything was B12. But then I found out that Irish moss has B12 in it, which I did not know. Banana peels have B12 in it, which I didn't know. You can also do, there's this tablet that I get on Amazon. It's this green algae tablet, but that also has B12 in it. But everyone is B12 deficient, even if you eat meat. And so that's something that people need to also understand. It's not just vegans that need to supplement certain things. Everyone should supplement. There's always going to be the extreme on either side. You can be a vegan and you can be trying to do raw vegan and not being healthy, but you can also be eating meat and not being healthy and be incredibly obese. Yeah. So you can't use that argument to tell someone who is trying to be healthier, who is trying to advocate for it, that you shouldn't do it because you're gonna lose muscle. It just doesn't make any sense. And my sister's been vegan for 25 plus years, so you can obviously do it. And her husband has been vegan his entire life, so you can do it.
I think anyone who is health conscious, whether you're eating meat or you're plant-based, whole foods, if you're health conscious, you're going to the doctor, you're making sure that your levels are all in check, that you're getting all of the nutrients and the vitamins. Either way, like you said, you can be obese. There are fat vegans too. Sugar is still a vegan friendly.
Yes, it is.
You can get that great ice cream. I think it's the So cashew milk.
Oh, yes, I know. Yeah, there's quite a few of them.
So I go, like you said, there's unhealthy people no matter where you go, and there are healthy people. But I love that there are so many documentaries out right now on athletes and people who are doing amazing things, and they live plant-based life.
Yeah.
And so
I
it just
do.
goes to show you're not protein deficient if you pay attention to it. You're not
Yeah.
B12, you're not omega short
Yeah.
if you're aware and paying attention to it. And like you
And
said,
that's the thing. Like, I think when you go vegan, you are healthier when you're doing it wanting to be healthy, because you cannot be healthy. You can have ice creams and you can have Oreos and you can have all these random things that are vegan, but when you're doing it and you're trying to be healthy about it, your body is more in tune with itself and will tell you what you need.
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
I think so many people, vegan or not vegan, you're not in tune with your body. You're not listening to it. And when you tune
Yeah.
into it, it's amazing what it will
Yeah.
tell you, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Courtney Grant, let's talk about, you have a little cooking show that you do on YouTube.
I do, yeah.
Let's talk about that. Tell everybody the name of your YouTube channel and how they can connect with you.
Okay, so my cooking channel is called Vegan Cooking with Courtney. I am on Instagram and Twitter and all of that kind of stuff. And I really started when the pandemic happened, honestly, because I was already vegan, and then the pandemic happened and I was just kind of like, gosh, I don't really know what to do. I'm not fully working and the industry had shut down. And so it's just kind of like hanging out at home. And so the company that I was working for, they were like, hey, listen, we are going to start doing videos on our Instagram. How about you start making videos and we will post them, and that's basically how we will contribute to like continuing a payment. And I was like, okay, great. So I started cooking, and in the beginning, the videos were not that good. I didn't know how to do YouTube. So I was just posting videos and setting them up and doing whatever. And I was like, you know what? I can really do this. I was like, I enjoy it. I feel good about it. And it can be very informative. And so I really wanted to start doing the whole process. So I started watching tutorials. My friend Max, he's the one who helped me get a lot of the other stuff done, and because he's doing a cooking channel for history, and I was just like, let me figure this out. I watched a bunch of stuff, and then I started creating and really making it and buying lighting and starting to research different foods. And then I was like, gosh, man, so many people think that vegan food is just like grass. So I was like, I don't, you know what I mean? So I'm like,
Alfalfa sprouts, and that's all you eat.
Yeah. So I was like, I really want people to enjoy vegan food, and I just started like getting it done, and I started like researching recipes and learning how to do them. And the majority of all of the recipes, I think there's like maybe 2 that I knew how to do, but a lot of the other recipes, it's my first time doing it like right there on camera. So I am glad that they have, since I've started. They've all turned out really well, and they're really easy to do. But I mean, for me, because I'm trying to show it to people, it takes like an hour or 2, but you doing it yourself, it takes like 15, 20 minutes. The longest recipe is maybe an hour, and that was like the ratatouille. And I was like, that's just, your veggies and everything else. And I'm like, that's a really easy dish and you can do it. So I really wanted people to enjoy not only the look of the food, but knowing that they can make it, how easy it is. I know it's so much easier to go out to McDonald's and grab a burger and like grab fries and just eat it. But I always tell people, I'm like, what do you want to do? Do you want to pay for it now or later?
Yes, I love that, Courtney.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it, because either way, you're investing in your health. You're investing in your health, and you won't have expensive bills later, or you don't invest and you pay for it later.
Yeah. So it's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to spend no money and like just eat a bunch of food and then later on have incredible hospital bills? Why not participate in a healthier lifestyle? Yes, don't get me wrong. Meat does taste good. We wouldn't eat it if it didn't, you know what I mean? But But that in the long run, you can do better.
It does seem like there is more of a vegan movement in the food industry. More companies are producing your milk alternatives, the non-dairy stuff. It was just kind of like a slow roll there. And now there's several companies that produce plant-based meat, sausages. There's quite a few. So I love that it seems like there's more and more of a health benefit and conversation going on around the whole food, plant-based diet.
And it is a slow transition into getting away from eating meat and solely eating a plant-based diet. You know that eating meat is causing a certain kind of harm, so why do you want to participate in it?
Yeah.
You know?
I think most people just aren't. That's one of the reasons I really call this Curiosity Junkie, is that most people aren't open to exploring the opposite of what they know to be true. They grow up meat and potatoes, meat and potatoes, meat and potatoes. So thinking about someone eating only vegetables is what I call fear-based to them, because it's unknown, so it's scary. Even though they're not registering it as that scary, it's easy to shut it down and go, no, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
People are crazy.
I know.
That.
I know.
So I always love having people on, and I get that my son, he's not vegan, and he will give me crap about his food pooping on my food. And but I do appreciate too that he's respectful. He says, you know, if you're going to kill an animal and eat the meat, that he wants to be respectful to the animal that gave its life for him to have the meal. So I appreciate that too, but I wish I could get, you know, a little more into like, well, let's just try plant-based for a year or whatever.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was watching this guy, Earthling Ed. He's incredible. I love him. He's so calm, and he does it better than I feel like I could ever do it.
I remember one of the first times a girlfriend was kind of doing dairy. She was looking into dairy and writing a book on healthy eating. And she said, oh my God, don't ever drink milk again. And I was like, do I want to know the reason for this? And she said, in her research, she found that because they hook up the machines to the milking cows and they, you know, lock them onto the teats, and they're on there longer than they should be, they're creating sores, which creates pus.
Pus, yeah.
And there is an acceptable amount of pus in the milk.
Yeah.
Like FDA says so you're drinking pus in your milk.
Yeah, I know. I try to I've tried to tell people that as well. I'm like, I was just recently, like 2 days ago, talking to someone about that. And I was like, do you know that there is an amount of pus that you're allowed to have in milk? That means every single day you're drinking milk. That is what you're drinking. People love cheese for whatever reason, but like, you know what I mean?
It really does have, I read or watched a documentary on cheese, and there is something in it that is addictive in your brain. Once you start eating it, will crave it. So there's a reason people have a hard time giving it up. Mm-hmm. Like sugar.
Yeah. So you should just try your hardest for yourself to do it and watch things on it. I think that's another thing that people don't do. They try to do it and they try to get rid of something, but they don't research anything about it or research how to do it. And so they're just like, whatever, I'm just going to go back to it.
One of the reasons I went vegan, I was just thinking about trying to get healthier, and somebody said, watch What the Health.
I know.
And so I watched that and I was like, I am never eating meat again. It just did it for me. It really did flip a switch. There was some I think I cried a couple of times. Like, it's a powerful movie. So anybody out there thinking about going vegan, watch that.
You have a whole group of one animal chickens, cows, pigs, stuffed into metal containers and just breeding them and killing them and them sleeping in their waste. And like, you know what I mean? Like there's so many things happening. And one of the things that I found out was the trauma aspect of animals. So when you're killing them and they're freaking out and in fear and threatened for their lives and they know they're going to die, you take all that in. You take on all that depression, you take on all that anxiety, all that fear, and you eat that, and that contributes to your body. And that's another thing that people are just kind of like, oh no, that's whatever. But it's not. That's a real thing. And
you think about your own body. When you go into fear mode, your body is reacting with chemical reaction, whatever it's releasing.
Yes.
That's what happens when we go into fear mode. Animals are exactly the same. When they go into fear mode, that's being released toxins, usually, to their body.
Yeah. And you're eating it.
And then we're eating it. Yes.
Yes. To see the behind the scenes of that, you're looking at 1 gallon of milk, and if you could set that gallon of milk on the table and put a TV behind that gallon of milk to show them what that gallon of milk cost, like, would you still drink it? Would you still be okay with it? Like, they put holes in the cow and take out all of the stuff out of their stomach, all the grass, and then they fill it up with other ingredients and product to make the milk taste and do whatever it's doing. Like, it's really intense. And the cow has a hole in them. Like, and then from there, as soon as the cow can't produce any more milk, it also goes and gets slaughtered. They don't not slaughter it. It also dies. So there's so much going on, and there's a lot happening, and everything. But at the end of the day, whether it's a chicken, whether it's a cow, whether it's a pig, whatever it's for, a dairy cow, it all goes to the same place.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's very eye-opening once you start digging into it. And again, I think most of us, I mean, I'm 58. I just came to veganism about 4 years ago. So I think, you come to it when you come to it. It's great. And the reason I'm going to have you on is to connect people with your YouTube channel, because your recipes are easy for the most part. They're fairly simple. I was watching the ribs, the mushroom ribs.
Oh, yeah.
And is it sweet potatoes?
Sweet potatoes, yeah.
Yes. I was watching that one and I was like, oh my, just watching you eat it, I'm like, I'm so hungry, I want to make that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, the recipes look good. Yeah. They taste good. It's not good. Your goal is not to make it taste like meat. Your goal is to make it taste really good and being able to know that you're contributing to a plant-based diet and not a meat diet. Yes. And it's like, it's comfort food. I made lasagna and like, I was just so, I never made lasagna like that before. And me eating it, I was just like, oh my gosh, like this tastes incredible. And all the food is me making it right then and there. I didn't make it beforehand. And I'm just kind of like, this is incredible. I never knew that I could make stuff like this without it having meat in it or having dairy in it. And to see that and to know that you're like, gosh, this is comfort food. This does taste really good. I really enjoy this stuff. It is really nice. And so I really want to show people that they can do all of that. And it is easy,
Yes. And the ingredients you use for the most part, like a lot of your seasonings, I haven't watched all your videos, but I feel like for the most part, your seasonings are pretty basic. Most people would have them on hand. There might be a couple that you need to put in your cabinet, but if you are thinking about going vegan, there are going to be some seasonings and spices that you don't carry that you're going to want to add.
Yeah. I mean, half of the seasonings I did not have, but I mean, they were all at the store and I just picked all of them up. The only one that I know that people don't have is umami, which I didn't realize that was kind of like a California thing.
Yes. Yeah. The first couple of times I saw you using it, I was like, what is that? I need to get some of that.
Yeah. So like, that's probably the only one that I knew that people didn't really have. But I kind of like, I don't use it as often. It's very rare that I do use it. You don't need it in every dish. It's just kind of like brings out the flavor and like potatoes when you're putting other seasonings on them and all of that kind of stuff. But all of the stuff that I'm using, all the seasonings are the same. The majority of all the seasonings are the same. A lot of these recipes have potatoes in them. So you know that a lot of the stuff is it's very much the same. You're going to consistently buy it. Mushrooms you're buying pretty consistently. I just made one thing, it was with macaroni and cheese and another dish of mushrooms, and they were ribs. And so I made that. I'm going to post that video. And I'm like, all of this stuff is very much so the same, just made in a different way to taste different. I mean, I made cashew milk for one of the first times. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can make milk. It doesn't take that long. It's so nice to have and do. And so I'm just kind of like, you can do it. You really just have to commit. Take time out of your day to take care of you. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. Take time out of your day. And once you start really figuring that out and doing it, it is easy. I was not always eating 5 meals a day. I had to work that into my schedule because I'm like, I want to stay this size. I want to be 180. I want to like feel like this. And I like the way it is. I had to take time out of my day. I had to wake up a little bit earlier. I had to do certain things to change that. And that's across the board with anything. If you want to learn a sport, you got to take time out of your day. You got to take 2 hours out of your day. So why not take 30 minutes out of your day to cook a meal or several meals? Because I meal prep, and my meal prep doesn't take that long. It's a whole thing of rice. I put it in a rice cooker, and I mix up some, mushrooms and potatoes. I use an air fryer. Like, so many of these things are super, super easy. People just have to want to do it, you know?
That's no. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to bring people to your channel because I think you do it simple. You do a lovely job. It's entertaining. You laugh a lot, which I love. And you always sample it. So you can tell it's a newer recipe and you eat it. And the whole time I'm just like, oh my God, that looks amazing.
I know. I know. And I didn't realize people love watching other people eat. And I was like, I have to do that. I'm like, okay, let me sit down. I'm actually going to get stuff for the wall so it's not so blank, because I was like, let me do that. But like, yeah, I mean, I really love the idea of knowing that these recipes are going to be out there. It contributes to something for a greater cause, not just for me, but like for people that don't know what to do and where to go. They're like, what do I do? How do I become a vegan? How do I make this food? It's like, you can do it. I promise you can do it. Watch these recipes, like research. And it's not just like, I have to research sometimes too. So even though I'm making all this food and I'm doing this kind of stuff, it is a little process, but once you get into it, you're good. I didn't know how to make cashew milk, and now I know how to make cashew milk. I know how to make cashew cheese. I know how to make ricotta cheese, and it's all cashew based. I know how to make a veggie cheese, which I made in one of my videos with onions, potatoes, carrots, and sweet potatoes. I didn't know that was a thing. I was like, who invents this?
And aren't you glad they did? That's where I go. I love that somebody thought about putting these things together. It's amazing. Yes.
It's incredible. So to see that and to like know that people have taken the time to contribute something like that, to show you like, listen, guys, this isn't healthy. Dairy's not that healthy. So let's start really being better for yourself and getting it done. I mean, I love it. And if you really do look at all the recipes that I have made, a lot of them are just a little different variations of another one. And because you have, pasta, and you have lasagna, you have so many different, flavors, and potatoes that are it's all potato, but it's all seasoned differently. It all tastes different. And that's across the board with everything. Whether you're trying to transition from eating meat into becoming a vegan, you know that you're going to get a similar flavor, not the same, just a little different, and know that you're contributing to a healthier lifestyle.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's great. Well, this is like a perfect place to kind of wrap up. I want to say thank you so much, Courtney, for coming on and sharing your passion for vegan cooking and vegan eating. I loved it. And let's do one more time your social media platforms, the way people can connect with you.
Okay, guys, so you can connect with me on YouTube, Vegan Cooking with Courtney, Instagram, Courtney Grant 1, Twitter, Courtney Grant 7, and just Courtney Grant on Facebook. I can't wait to meet all of you.
Well, thank you, Courtney, and thank you to everyone that tuned in, listened, watched, and stay safe, stay curious.
Bye, guys.